I want to play on a championship team. Then I want to play in the NBA.
Space Jam arrived in November of 1996 and became something no one fully predicted. A cultural phenomenon that grossed over $230 million worldwide, spawned one of the best-selling soundtracks of that entire decade, and permanently fused basketball and animation into a single, unforgettable moment in pop culture history. But what happened when the final buzzer sounded in 2026 is more dramatic, more surprising, and more emotional than anything that played out on that cartoon court. We're talking about the greatest athlete of his generation who walked away twice. Co-stars whose real lives carried more heartbreak than any script. And a supporting cast that quietly built legacies nobody saw coming. Let's see where they all ended up. Number 1, we have Michael Jordan as Michael Jordan. There is no Space Jam without him, and everyone knew it. Michael was 33 years old when filming wrapped, sitting at the peak of a career that had already redefined what professional basketball could look like. 6 NBA championships with the Chicago Bulls, 5 MVP awards, a cultural footprint that extended so far beyond sports, it had become something closer to mythology. What most fans never knew is how deeply personal this film was for Michael. His father, James Jordan, had been murdered in 1993, the tragedy that triggered Michael's first retirement and his detour into minor league baseball. Space Jam was partly his re-entry, his way back to joy. His father appears briefly in the film's opening flashback, and Michael has said the movie carried an emotional weight for him that never fully showed on screen. After Space Jam, he delivered 2 more championships in 1997 and 1998, retired again, returned once more with the Washington Wizards from 2001 to 2003, and then walked away for good. The business empire came next. Majority ownership of the Charlotte Hornets, the Jordan brand generating over $6 billion annually as of the mid-2020s, and a global legacy cemented. Further by The Last Dance documentary in 2020. In 2026, Michael Jordan is 63 years old. The greatest basketball player who ever lived turned out to be an even more formidable businessman. Some people are simply built for every arena they enter. Number 2, we have Wayne Knight as Stan Podolak. Stan was Michael's eager, well-meaning, slightly hapless assistant, the human anchor who kept the real world connected to the cartoon chaos unfolding around him. Wayne Knight played him with physical comedy and a warmth that made Stan genuinely likable rather than just comic relief. He was 39 years old during filming, already beloved by millions as Newman from Seinfeld, a role he'd been playing since 1992. Here's something wild. Wayne Knight became so associated with his villainous and comedic roles, Newman, the treacherous Nedry in Jurassic Park, that a false report of his death went completely viral on social media in 2012. Millions of people believed it. Wayne had to personally address it publicly, confirming he was very much alive, which he handled with exactly the kind of dry humor you'd expect from the man who played Newman for 9 seasons. What most fans never knew is how seriously Wayne Knight took his craft beneath all that comedy. He spent years in serious stage work and voice acting, building a body of work that stretched well beyond the characters that made him famous. In 2026, Wayne Knight is 68 years old and still working across film, television, and voice performance. Newman lives, Stan lives, and Wayne Knight, very much alive, has outlasted the rumors.
This belongs to me. I'm going this way, I'm going left, I'm going left. Whoa! Don't ever trust your fling.
Number 3, we have Bill Murray as himself. Bill Murray appears in Space Jam as himself, Michael's celebrity friend who suits up and actually plays in the big game, delivering the kind of relaxed, effortlessly funny performance that only Bill Murray can pull off by simply existing in a scene. He was 45 years old at the time of filming, and his presence in this movie felt both completely random and absolutely inevitable. Here's the twist. Bill Murray's career in the years following Space Jam became one of the most fascinating studies in deliberate artistic reinvention in Hollywood history. He stepped away from broad comedy almost entirely, choosing instead to work with directors like Wes Anderson across 9 collaborations, Sofia Coppola in Lost in Translation, and Jim Jarmusch in Broken Flowers. A man who could have coasted on Ghostbusters nostalgia forever chose the road that was harder and stranger and better. In 2026, Bill Murray is 75 years old, one of the few people in this entire cast who became more interesting with every passing decade. The man who showed up to play cartoon basketball turned out to be the most singular figure in American comedy. Number 4, we have Theresa Randle as Juanita Jordan. Juanita was Michael's devoted, sharp, emotionally grounded wife, the steady center of the film's real-world domestic scenes. Theresa Randle played her with quiet authority and warmth that gave the film a genuine emotional foundation beneath all the cartoon spectacle. She was 31 years old during filming, and the role came at the height of what should have been a breakthrough moment in her career. And that's where the story takes a turn nobody quite predicted. Theresa Randle was genuinely exceptional in everything she appeared in. Space Jam, Bad Boys opposite Will Smith, and Martin Lawrence, Girl 6 for Spike Lee. Critics noticed, audiences responded. But the Hollywood machine didn't follow through with the roles her talent demanded, and Theresa gradually stepped back from the spotlight in the early 2000s. In 2026, Theresa Randle is 61 years old, one of the most genuinely talented performers of her generation, whose story is a quiet reminder that Hollywood's failures are rarely the actor's fault.
Sit down, Chuck. Man, I'm fine. I'm fine. No. I play you too many minutes.
Number 5, we have Charles Barkley as himself. Charles Barkley appears in Space Jam's opening act as one of the NBA stars who has his basketball talent literally stolen by the Nerdlucks. And he plays his own humiliation with a self-deprecating commitment that is genuinely hilarious. He was 33 years old at the time, still an active NBA player, and already one of the most outspoken and magnetic personalities in professional sports. Nobody saw what came next, or rather everyone should have, because Charles Barkley has never once been anything other than exactly himself. After retiring from basketball in 2000, he moved into television broadcasting with Turner Sports, becoming one quarter of Inside the NBA alongside Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, and Shaquille O'Neal, a show that won the Emmy Award for Outstanding Studio Show 11 consecutive times. As of 2026, he remains one of the most watched voices in sports media, 62 years old, still saying exactly what he thinks, and still making everyone around him better television.
You get off that kick, it's over. It's done with. You can't play.
Number 6, we have Larry Bird as himself. Larry Bird appears alongside Charles Barkley as another NBA victim of the Nerdlucks talent theft, and delivers his few lines with the same understated, dry confidence that defined his entire playing career. He was 39 years old at the time, recently retired from playing and already thinking about what came next. What most fans never knew is how naturally Larry Bird transitioned from playing to coaching, something most elite athletes struggle with deeply. He became head coach of the Indiana Pacers in 1997, just 1 year after Space Jam, and led them to the NBA Finals in 2000. He won NBA Coach of the Year that same season. Then he moved into the front office as president of basketball operations, built the Pacers into consistent contenders, and won NBA Executive of the Year in 2012. In 2026, Larry Bird is 69 years old, largely retired from front office work, and universally regarded as one of the most complete basketball minds the game has ever produced. Number 7. We have Patrick Ewing as himself. Patrick Ewing was one of the NBA stars whose talent gets stolen in the film's setup. And watching a man of his physical stature suddenly unable to make the simplest basketball play is exactly the kind of comedy that lands every time. He was 33 years old during filming, still playing for the New York Knicks, still one of the most dominant centers in the league. Here's the real-life contrast that gives this entry its weight. Patrick Ewing spent his entire playing career in New York, 15 seasons with the Knicks, and never won an NBA championship despite being one of the most talented players of his entire generation. He came close. He gave everything. The ring never came. In 2026, Patrick Ewing is 63 years old and still coaching. The man who never won a ring as a player turned out to be defined by far more than any championship ever could have captured.
You guys are still tall. I'm nothing now. Just another short guy.
You got that right.
Number 8. We have Muggsy Bogues as himself. Muggsy Bogues was the shortest player in NBA history at 5 feet 3 inches, and his appearance in Space Jam carried a kind of built-in inspiration that needed no scripting. He was 31 years old during filming, still active in the league, and still one of the most improbable success stories in professional basketball. What most fans never knew is that Muggsy Bogues grew up in one of the most dangerous housing projects in Baltimore, watched friends die around him, and made it to the NBA on pure will and work ethic. He played 14 seasons in the league. 14. At 5 feet 3. In 2026, Muggsy Bogues is 61 years old, one of the most genuinely inspiring figures in this entire cast. The smallest player in the room turned out to have the largest story to tell.
Yeah, it could be invasion of body snatchers.
Yeah, could be. All right. Dress in the hallway.
Number 9. We have Vlade Divac as himself. Vlade Divac was one of the NBA stars drained of his talent in the film's setup, and he played his brief role with good humor and the easy charisma that made him one of the most beloved personalities in basketball throughout the 90s. He was 28 years old during filming, one of the younger active players featured, and his career still had a long, decorated road ahead of it. After Space Jam, Vlad played until 2005, winning an NBA championship with the Los Angeles Lakers in 2002. He then returned to his home country of Serbia, becoming one of the most influential figures in European basketball development, ultimately serving as general manager and vice president of basketball operations for the Sacramento Kings from 2015 to 2019. In 2026, Vlade Divac is 58 years old, back in Serbia, and regarded as a genuine pioneer of European basketball on the global stage.
Losers!
Sorry.
Choke artists!
Sorry again.
Wait till I get you back on Moron Mountain.
Number 10, we have Danny DeVito as the voice of Swackhammer. Swackhammer was the greedy, scheming owner of Moron Mountain, the alien amusement park villain who sets the entire plot in motion by sending the Nerdlucks to steal the tune. Squad's talent. Danny DeVito voiced him with gleeful, fast-talking menace that made Swackhammer one of the most entertaining villains in any animated film of that decade. He was 51 years old at the time of recording. What most fans never knew is how Swackhammer fits seamlessly into a long line of morally flexible characters Danny DeVito has played with obvious personal delight. From Penguin in Batman Returns to the entire catalog of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he has played the magnificently degenerate Frank Reynolds since 2006, across more than 150 episodes. The detail that makes everything feel poetic, Danny DeVito has built his entire legacy on making deeply flawed, often terrible people completely irresistible to watch. Swackhammer was just one stop on that journey. In 2026, Danny DeVito is 81 years old, still appearing in Always Sunny, still one of the most distinctively entertaining presences in American entertainment. The alien theme park villain turned out to be completely at home in every world he entered. Space Jam brought together one of the most genuinely unlikely casts in movie history. The greatest basketball player alive, cartoon legends, Hall of Famers playing themselves, and veteran character actors who made every human scene feel real. Some of those careers reached heights nobody predicted. Some of those stories carried heartbreak the cameras never caught. But every single person on that court, real or animated, left something behind worth remembering, because the best teams always do. Drop your favorite Space Jam moment in the comments. Let's see what still lives rent-free in your head after 30 years.